Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to my channel. Christmas is just around the corner. It's personally my favorite time of the year. Today, I'm so excited I will be sharing with you my classic fruit cake recipe. Very simple, but very tasty. This cake is filled with lots of raisins and dried fruits and has a beautiful aroma of spices that makes it extra flavorful and so delicious. To make our classic fruit cake, these are the ingredients. I have here 2 cups of all-purpose flour. You can also use soft or cake flour. I have 4 large eggs. Remember, they have to be at room temperature. I have here 1 cup of granulated sugar. I also have here half a cup of whole milk. It also has to be at room temperature. And then 1 cup of butter that has to be softened. So remember to take it out of the freezer and let it soften. I have here 1 cup of raisins and cranberries. So I have a mixture of black and golden raisins and also some dried cranberries. I'm using 1 cup of that, but if you prefer, you can use more of it. Then I have green and red cherries, about half a cup each of green and red. Then I'll be using baking powder, 2 teaspoons of baking powder for this particular recipe. I have my vanilla essence. We use 1 teaspoon of that. And then I have a combination of essence or flavors here. This is orange extract. I also have some strawberry extract. Then I have my rum extract. We'll also be using a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg powder and half a teaspoon of salt. So there you have it. Let's start baking. So I add my softened butter to a mixing bowl and then add my granulated sugar, and then I beat it till I realize that it's light and fluffy and the color has also changed and become pale. I am using a hand mixer, but if you have a stand mixer, it even makes the work a lot easier. This process would take about 12 to 15 minutes minimum. What I do is I beat or whisk it for about 3 minutes, pause, and then scrape the sides of the bowl and make sure that everything is centered in the middle. Then I continue to beat. You have to repeat the process and continue to whisk or beat it until you realize that the sugar is dissolved and it has mixed perfectly with the batter. Then you know that it's light and fluffy and ready for the next ingredient to be added. For this particular recipe, I'm using 4 large eggs, and remember, your eggs have to be at room temperature. You don't have to put in all the eggs at the same time. What I do is to drop in 1 egg at a time, beat it for about 30 seconds, and repeat the process until the last or 4th egg goes in. But remember to pause every now and then. Scrape the sides of the bowl and make sure that your batter is centered, and then it makes it easier for you to continue to whisk or beat. to the dry ingredients. I add my baking powder to the flour, then I add salt and the nutmeg powder, and I use my whisk to mix everything till it's well combined. And once that is done, I set the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients. And here's a little tip. Once you add the dry ingredients into the bowl, first you use a spatula to incorporate everything so that it doesn't fly all over the place. And once that is done, you can then go in with a whisk and make sure everything is well combined. And once that is done, I'm now adding half a cup of whole milk to my batter, and it has to be at room temperature. Just beat it for just about a minute and that should be fine. Now let's add extra flavor to our cake batter. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I have here my orange extract. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of that to it. Then 1 teaspoon of strawberry extract. And I'm also adding 1 teaspoon of rum. The beauty of this cake is that whichever extracts or flavors that you have, you can add it. If you have pineapple or even banana, you can add it to it. It's all about flavors, and they all come and combine so beautifully. So now I have my green and red cherries, and what I'm going to do is to cut them into pieces. I first cut them into halves and then cut it again. So what I do is 1 cherry, I cut it into 4 pieces or slices, and this is just perfect. So I have my mixed dried fruits here. I have black, brown, and golden raisins, and also some dried cranberries. Now adding my green and red cherries. Look at how beautiful it already looks. At this point, you don't need a hand mixer. All you need is the spatula. Just fold and mix until you realize that the dried fruits and the batter have been mixed together perfectly. So I have here my bunked cake pan, which is already greased, and then I just gently drop in my cake batter. You can use a loaf pan, or if you have small different shaped sizes of cake pans, just divide your batter and go ahead and bake it in them. It's all up to you. Remember to smoothen the top using your spatula, and also shake and hit the bottom of your pan on your kitchen counter a couple of times. This way you remove any air bubbles that may be in it. And you know one interesting thing? I have these 2 little humans in my house who are always eager. Once I pour the cake batter into the pan before I bake it, they are always eager to lick the little that is left in the mixing bowl. I always love it when I look at them do that. I had a taste of it myself, and I must confess, this cake is the best. As you can see, I decided to top it up with more of the dried fruits, and it makes it even more beautiful, and it's going to taste extra delicious. It's now ready for the oven. It goes into a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius for 30 or 35 minutes. And look at it. This is fresh out of the oven. Look at how beautiful it looks, and my kitchen was smelling so nice. Once you take it out of the oven, let it sit for about 15 or 20 minutes before you take it out of the cake pan. But allow it to cool completely for at least 30 minutes before you slice it up. Because of the different flavors or extracts that was used in preparing this cake, the aroma is out of this world. It's amazing. I can promise you, if you try this recipe, you won't want to try any other fruitcake recipe, especially during the festive season. The texture of this cake is perfect. It's light and fluffy, great aroma, great flavor, and the taste is simply incredible. Baking this cake brought back such fond memories of my childhood. Back in the day, growing up in Ghana, Christmas, or Bronya as we usually call it, was never complete without a slice of fruitcake, some savory chips, and also coated peanuts. I've included the links for the coated peanuts recipe and also the savory chips recipe in the description, so please check them out. This cake is so tasty and I really hope that you're going to give it a try. If you're new here and you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please click on the subscribe button. It's free. And remember to turn on your notifications so that whenever I post new content, you will be among the first to be notified. To my subscribers, you guys are simply amazing. Thank you so much for the love and the support. I wish you and your family happy holidays and Merry Christmas.